Good morning. Hello. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to start the meeting. Thanks, August. Thanks for the warm welcome. We'll call the meeting to order at 10:03, the 58th annual meeting of the Kodiak Area Native Association. Thanks all for coming. It's a nice day out, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here with us today. In the packets that you have in front of you, there's a lot of information that we made available. I hope you have the opportunity to look through the information and through our annual reports. And within the folder is a document that our Kodiak regional protocols, our Unity protocols. And I'd like to remind everybody of our Unity protocols and have you think about how Kodiak works together and our tribes and our corporations, because that's a point of pride for me and for the region that the Kodiak tribes, corporations, and people work together and come forward on a unified front. So I just wanted to share with you that that document is in there and that a lot of effort has gone towards ensuring that we acknowledge the great work that our folks do together. So thank you. I wanted to remind everybody of KANA's mission, vision, and values. Those are included in the annual report. But our mission is to elevate the quality of life of the people we serve. And when people ask me what that means, I say, I think that means that I want to make KANA better today than it was yesterday, make KANA better tomorrow than it is today. And I want to acknowledge that we have a lot of staff here today who have come out to share with you the really wonderful things that KANA is doing and that we're trying to do to elevate the quality of life of the people we serve. Our vision is to strengthen our people, villages, and communities. And our mission and our vision and our values are identified by our board of directors, who I'll introduce here shortly. But I want to acknowledge our board of directors for guiding our organization to serve you. Our values are the Shupiakalithik values of courtesy, caring, respect, sharing, and pride. And we try to instill in our staff to demonstrate those values every day in how we serve and how we greet you. I'd like to call forward Susie Malutin, Denise, Rebecca, Christopher, and Sophia for our lamplighting. Our folks, if you notice people running around with cameras, they told me that I needed to get out of the screen for this. So I'm going to go stand over here. I tell this story a lot, and I told myself I wasn't going to tell the story. But as we see this moderate flame here, I remind folks of the time when we had a lamp lighting, and I told one of our staff members to go get some oil, and they were from New Mexico, and so they didn't really understand what type of oil or fuel they were supposed to get. And so they went to Sutliff's and they got the hottest burning Toyo stove fuel that they could find. And the flame was growing and growing and growing, and it got to over a couple of feet. And we were at the Afognak building on Near Island, and I had to run outside and keep the Afognak building from burning down. So thanks to the Malutin family for lighting the lamp and also for your safety protocols, making sure that everything's okay. We do have, just in case something happens, we have an extinguisher underneath. So yeah, thanks. If I could now invite Heather Parker for the invocation.
Shmai, good morning. Please join me for A prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you've blessed us with. We thank you for the break in the winds that we can be together to share time and fellowship. We pray that you will be amongst everyone here as we do business for the Kodiak Area Native Association, that we'll have your blessing on all that is spoken and all the good work that is still to come. We pray that you will be with our people who are not able to be here today across the community, our villages, and beyond. We ask a special blessing for those who are in our hospitals and having health struggles. We pray your blessing upon them. As we begin this day, we ask that you would bless all the work, all those hands who are working to elevate and improve the quality of life of the people that we serve, and that you will go with each and every one of us as we go out into our day, and that we would all work together to bless our people. In your name, amen.
Thank you, Heather. And I just want to do a sound check. Can everybody hear, or can we turn up the volume just to make sure everybody can hear? The folks in the back, can you hear, Jody? You can? Great, thank you. What? Raise the mic up. Talk into the microphone, you're telling me? Okay, I can do that. Thank you. I want to acknowledge our caterers. Since Heather was just up here, Heather Parker and Hadley provided breakfast. I can definitely hear myself now. Thanks for the volume. And lunch is provided by Barefoot Bakery. So thanks to the folks who worked hard to make sure that that we had some food available. And I also want to point out the really great cookies. And if you want to know how those cookies are made, you can find Jen Caskey. She can talk to you about the printing process. And if you don't want to eat them and take them home and put them on your wall, you're welcome to do that, because that's what I'm going to do. Could I hear a motion to approve the agenda of the 2024 annual meeting? Thank you. And a second? We have a second. All in approval signify by aye. Motion's approved. Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the 2023 annual meeting? Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in approval signify by aye. Thank you. Motion's approved. I'd like to now, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'd like to introduce and acknowledge our KANA Board of Directors. First off, Miss Loretta Nelson from Native Village of Afognak, KANA's chair. Ms. Phyllis Emoto, Kodiak Village, our vice chair. Cheryl Christofferson, secretary at large. Janine Marsh, Shunak Tribe of Kodiak, our treasurer. Mr. Larry Chichenoff, Native Village of Yuzinki. Thanks, Larry. Chrislyn Hohen, Tinignac Native Village. Stella Crummery, Alutiiq Tribe of Old Harbor. Nancy Nelson, Native Village of Port Lions. Alexander Panamaroff Jr., Native Village of Larson Bay. Tikhon Simeonov, Native Village of Akiak. Thanks, everybody. And I'm going to announce our election committee, Ms. Margie Nelson, Desiree Aluska, Stacy Simmons, and JJ Orloff. They are at the end of the hall behind the reception desk collecting votes. So if you are a member of a chapter who is electing an officer this year, you can vote. I think we probably have about, once I announce that the election will have 15 minutes, so we'll probably have about 30 minutes left to vote. I want to acknowledge we have some special guests, Ms. Natasha Singh from ANTHC, Interim President and Chief Executive Officer. Mr. Alan Vierling, ANMC Administrator. Ms. Joy Mariner, she is our auditor. She is not in the room. She'll be joining us via Zoom once she's ready to present our financial statements. And we also have Ms. Maggie Hum with the Alaska Legal Services Corporation. And Tika Lamady from the Alaska Legal Services Corporation. And I just want to acknowledge all of the folks around the room. We have several of our departments represented here. And if you have the opportunity, I'd really encourage you to get the chance to speak with them, hear about the programs that we're providing, the services that we offer, and just meet the people who are here to support you. I'd like to now present an opportunity for the board nominations and candidate comments for the Kodiak Village. If our board candidate would like to make some comments. Yeah, or you can come here. I'm not sure if that one is fired up. Is that working too?
Jemai. Good morning. First, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Phyllis Emoto. My parents are the late Barbara Phillips of Kodiak and the late Edward Phillips Sr. of Kodiak. I have been married to my husband for 26 years. We have 5 children together and 2 grandbabies. I'd like to thank all of you and those that have supported me throughout the years. It's an honor to serve with our current board of directors and our past. I appreciate the opportunity of working with Mike, KANA's leadership team, and all staff. I value being a board of director, and I look forward to serving for you for many more years. Thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis. Would any candidates for the native village of Port Lions like to say anything? And I'm looking at you, Nancy.
Jemai, good morning. Nice to see everyone. My name is Nancy Nelson. I'm from Port Lions. I have represented the Port Lions chapter for the past 3 years, and I hope to for another 3 years. Although we all represent, the board represents chapters, please know we all represent the Kodiak Archipelago. It has been an honor and privilege to serve with the current board and also the late Margaret Roberts and Al Cratty. Mike and his team, who work so hard to provide the quality health care and overall wellness for those we serve in our villages and Kodiak. Thank you all for your hard work. Mike, your job is not an easy one, but you sure do a good job, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Kuyana to all who have voted and supported me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy. Are there any candidates from the Shunak tribe of Kodiak that would like to say something? First, I would look to our incumbent.
Shamai, I'm nervous. I'm not used to doing this, so somebody told me today to keep it short. Sorry. I have 2 minutes. Shamai, my name is Janine Marsh. You all know me as JJ. My mom hates that because she named me Janine and always said, JJ, really? I love it. My parents were the late Mary Matrokin from Kodiak and Joseph Jensen from Paulsville, Washington. My grandparents are the late Eli and Lena Matrokin. I have 3 grown children, Ryan, Mary, and Christopher, and 4 beautiful grandchildren, Lena, Mason, Jedediah, and Michael Jr. I spent my childhood living next door to my grandparents and feel very fortunate to have had that, been raised and been so close to them. I always say I was spoiled by my grandparents, but in a good way. I was employed by KANA for 24 years, from 1990 to 2014. I held and enjoyed many positions, including medical receptionist, file clerk, medical records, admin assistant, billing manager, and front desk manager. They could never figure out where to place me. My last position with KANA was as a patient relations director, which allowed me to advocate for our patients, especially our elders, a job I thoroughly enjoyed and I miss. I made the tough decision to leave KANA in 2014 and began employment with the Shunak tribe of Kodiak as a tribal administrator. This has been a challenging position dealing with daily operations of our tribe, but I find it very rewarding. I was elected to the KANA Board of Directors in 2021, which has allowed me to continue to advocate for our members, especially our elders. I've chosen to serve for the next 3 years. I will continue to advocate and listen to our members' needs. But I would also take this opportunity to thank KANA's staff. I know it's not an easy job. You work hard every day. I really appreciate you. We appreciate you. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the board of directors. It's a great group. They support me. I support them. And also I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mike Pfeffer. He's always there, always. So thank you very much.
Thank you, JJ. Other candidates for the Shunak tribe of Kodiak? Christopher Pruitt? You know what, let's adjust the microphone so it's so it can accommodate your height.
Thanks, Mike. Shemai. Thank you. Oh, one more time, Shemai. I'm getting better at that with Stevie's been helping me say hello the proper way. My name's Christopher Pruitt. I'm the son of Trish and Steve Pruitt, grandson of Barbara and Joe Hockmuth, great-grandson of Clyda Christensen. I have 2 beautiful children, Colin and Emma Pruitt. I serve on the Shunak Board of Directors as Vice Chair of Shunak, lifelong resident. Some of you guys know me from fishing or at the school district or now working over at Kiha. But most of everyone should know that from reading the bio. But let me circle back around to first how I introduced myself. Because anywhere else in the world, you would introduce yourself. You'd introduce yourself saying, hi. Okay, I'll try that again. So everywhere else in the world, you'd introduce yourself saying, hi, my name's Chris. I work in the housing industry. And then we'd have a riveting conversation about the economy and the ridiculous rent rates right now. But that's just how you introduce yourself everywhere else. It's, hi, I'm Chris, and this is what I do. But here, we introduce ourselves saying, hi, I'm Chris, and where I'm from. We always go back to where we're where we're rooted from and where our roots run. Everyone's had this conversation where you, sorry, public speaking is something I'm trying to get better at. Everyone's had this conversation where you introduce yourself to someone new and then you name off 20, 30 different people, relatives, throw a couple villages in until you finally meet that common ground, that person you have in common. And hopefully it's someone, a good relative, because that normally dictates the way that conversation is going to go. And if you've never made a new friend or an enemy. We trace our roots to see how we're connected. And I'm connected to some amazing leaders in this community. As most of you guys knew, my mom was a beautiful person, kind, giving, took care of a lot of kids, and then also had time to be a voice on the Shunak tribe. I have a amazing aunt who does dig a fognac every year. I have an aunt who runs the housing authority. We have some very strong leaders in my family. I also have my grandma and my great grandma and my aunt Teresa, who helped preserve our language, and that's something that I've held with immense pride. It also sets a very high bar. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat that one. I want to be part of the new generations of leaders, a voice for our people, be involved in our community, be involved in our tribal growth, ensure that when my kids introduce themselves, that they can continue the same tradition that I have and feeling that pride when they introduce themselves. I believe in KANA's continued potential to uplift our community. And with your support, I want to be your dedicated voice, work alongside you and build a legacy that our people will look back on with immense pride. Koyana.
Thanks, Chris. Are there any other candidates who'd like to say something? Hearing none, I'd like to acknowledge all of those who have put their names forward to serve as leadership for the Kodiak Area Native Association. Could we acknowledge those folks again, please? Thank you. So at this time, I will announce that the polls will close in 15 minutes, and I believe that our crew of information technology folks are going to put a clock. There you go. Polls are going to close in 14 minutes and 49 seconds. So at this point, I would like to provide just some points about what KANA has done over the last year and what some of our priorities are moving forward. I want to welcome you again. This is our 58th annual membership meeting. KANA was incorporated in 1966 in December, and there's a lot of names on that list. I believe there are 12 folks, original incorporators, and I'm looking at Chrislyn Hohen, whose mom Tina was the woman behind the typewriter when the incorporating documents were drafted for the Kodiak Area Native Association. I just want to acknowledge the folks who had the ambition to get KANA started and the folks who have allowed us to be here 58 years later. And I want to make sure that I'm looking around the room. It's hard to make sure that I'm seeing everybody here. And again, if there's any issues with hearing me, please let me know. I think I'm sounding pretty loud right now. We do. We do have a presentation that we'll go through. I want to talk about first some team growth and community partnership opportunities. So this year at KANA, we've had the opportunity to expand some of our service lines. In particular, our physical therapy department, I wanted to acknowledge. We started physical therapy as a service line a few years ago with one physical therapist, and we now have 4.5, actually 5, but 4.5 full-time employees in our physical therapy department. And I wanted to acknowledge our board who told staff that we don't have enough access to services, so go out and form a physical therapy department. And I wanted to point that out because it's a really it's a big need, and it's been a great opportunity for our folks to better serve the needs of our folks and our people. I also wanted to mention our peer support specialists and our peer support program, and they are here today. So if you get the chance to meet with our peer support people, I really encourage you to do so. They are supporting a program for individuals seeking assistance in their recovery journey. And these are people who are trained and have lived experience with substance use disorders and mental health challenges. So this is a really is a big need in the community, and it was an effort for us to try to meet people where they are, because we can't have enough behavioral health support available because the need is so tremendous. And so it was an effort for us, in the absence of being able to hire enough behavioral health clinicians, which we still continue to try to do, to also have additional layers and levels of support available. I wanted to mention partnerships, and we've heard the Kodiak Island Housing Authority mentioned earlier, and I wanted to acknowledge I received a call from Kodiak following their annual meeting last week about patient housing. And the question had come up during their annual meeting about patient housing in the community. And we, over the last year, with the Kodiak Island Housing Authority, have rented 2 apartments for village patients. One apartment is for expectant mothers and families who are coming into Kodiak for childbirth. And the other apartment is for village elders who are traveling into Kodiak for services. And it's only 2 apartments, but it's a step. And we'll be working with the Kodiak Island Housing Authority to hopefully get more patient housing available, and to better support the patients who are coming in from the villages. I also wanted to mention Dr. Katie Gray. She is a physician for us, but she's also established a great relationship with the University of Washington for mentoring prospective physicians and healthcare providers. And she just this past year received the Wright Excellence in Teaching Award for the Alaska region, recognizing her outstanding leadership in teaching. So she has been acknowledged and recognized by her students as being a great mentor. And we're really proud of what she's doing, what our providers are doing, and the fact that our providers have been recognized for doing a really good job in mentoring future healthcare providers. Some accomplishments that I wanted to mention are some activities that have occurred over the last year. The Mill Bay Health Center, we have focused our healthcare delivery at the Mill Bay Health Center to be same-day appointments and urgent care appointments, so that we can have more appointments available when you need it. And that facility has been utilized since, I think, March, for primarily same-day and urgent appointments. And hopefully that we can, through additional opportunities, like we've got Providence Kodiak Island Medical Center Hospitalist Program. For years, the hospital has been staffed for hospitalist services by physicians from KANA and the Kodiak Community Health Center, and previously Kodiak Island Medical Associates. So Providence recently identified that Providence wants to employ hospitalists rather than having the local healthcare providers and providing that service, which I think is a great idea and a great opportunity for us, because we, for years, have had one physician on call 24/7 for a week at a time. And what that means is that when you call and you want to have an appointment, one of our providers is out of hand. So with this transition from Providence that Providence has wanted to implement, we will have more access available in our clinics from the physician who was previously on call. We will still have a physician rounding on our patients who are at the hospital. So if you're in the hospital, we should expect to be able to see a KANA physician, but we won't be providing the same hospitalist service. Again, this is a Providence-driven decision, working closely with healthcare providers in the community, but ultimately we intend to make more appointments available for you, since those providers are going to be in clinic. I wanted to mention some new grant funding opportunities. Our grants team, and I didn't mention our grants team earlier, but over the last year, they have expanded significantly. We now have 4 people within the grants department actively seeking additional opportunities to support our programs, and also additional opportunities to support our regional partners and tribes. We've had conversations with local tribes about trying to assist in grant-seeking opportunities. We just this last year have received several new grants, including almost $600,000 to support our Village Public Safety Officer program, in addition to the funding that we receive from the state annually. $2.7 million from NOAA for environmental and climate programs. And I wanted to take this opportunity to put Mr. Tyler Cornelis on the spot to tell us just in a few words what that means. Tyler's going to come to the front of the room. While he's doing that, I'll also mention that we received $5 million from Senator Murkowski to use towards health center expansion to provide more and better health center space for you. So we'll be planning that over the next year or two. Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. My name is Tyler Cornelis. I'm the Environmental and Climate Programs Director at KANA. ANTHC was recently awarded almost $75 million through NOAA's Climate Resilience Regional Challenge. And a bulk of that funding is going to go to Western Alaskan communities who are experiencing significant shifts in the conditions of their living environment. Communities are losing lots and lots of ground to erosion and so forth. KANA's role will be to help implement that project in the Kodiak region, and I want to make sure that I get the objectives correctly stated. So the objectives for KANA's subaward to this program is to establish a community climate risk assessment program, to expand statewide tribal adaptation technical assistance, and to be involved with network and knowledge sharing. So that program should be starting in November or December. So watch the newsletter for more information. Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler. I've been told I can't have my water bottle on the podium, so I'm going to have to put that on the floor. I was told. Elder Services, I really am pleased with the progress that has been made with our Elder Services Department. 2 years ago, KANA's board said, we've been talking about providing elder support for a long time. It's time that you do something about it. And so we hired Cassie Keplinger. She came back to KANA as our Elder Services Director. And within the last year or so, Ms. Penny Boucher was added to that department to provide more resource for our elders because of what our elders mean for our community and for KANA. The Elder Services team has collaborated with our Workforce and Development Department, and I'm going to put Ms. Rosa Skonberg on the, is Rosa? There's Rosa. I'm going to ask Rosa to come up and talk a little bit about our elder and adult non-medical chore services program that they are implementing just this year.
I'm not this tall. Good morning. I'm Rosa Skonberg. I'm the Workforce and Economic Development Director. Like Mike mentioned, we've been working with our Elder Services team to collaborate on adult chore services. What that means, or one of the goals with that, is to really be able to provide that in-home support that isn't, medical services, but really, things like help around the house with like cleaning or just companionship, helping run errands, preparing meals. It is an income-based program and it is needs-based. So that's where, we're working with Elder Services to help identify the elders in our community that need that extra support, but also eligible adults. So if we have adults with a disability who need that in-home support, they can also be eligible for those services. One of the goals, the other goals with this is to create a workforce of chore service providers within each community. So we're working with individuals who are interested in being self-employed, and we can provide them that support to get started, to be able to provide those services to our eligible adults and elders within their communities. So sorry, one second. If you know of anybody who is in need of chore services, or if you know anyone who is interested in becoming a chore service provider, we're having a big recruitment right now just to, get people who are interested, the right support and some starter kits to be able to provide those services to our adults and elders in our community. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, or you can reach out to Cassie with Elder Services. Thank you.
Thanks, Rosa. I called Rosa yesterday afternoon and said, hey, would you mind talking about this program? Because you can better explain it than I can. And she said, sure. So thank you so much for your short notice response, because Rosa really is the subject matter expert. And Tyler, I asked him this morning to talk about his climate resilience grant. So thanks to Tyler for being ready and willing on short notice to provide you information about the programs. Village engagement and economic development. Our board always talks about making sure that our villages are front and center when we're having conversations, so that we don't lose track of our village residents and our village communities and the services that are available. Over the last year, I'm proud to share we were able to visit each village for community health fairs. And we provide our teams with the opportunity to provide outreach, to share what our programs are doing, to get other folks out to the villages, like the Alaska Legal Services Corporation and TICA went out to our villages to help with wills and other legal support. So it was really a great accomplishment. With the weather, I know that we had a lot of reschedules to try to get out to each village, but they managed to make it happen, and I want to thank them for that. And I also want to put Rosa on the spot again to talk about a grant that we received for economic development to try to help strengthen our village communities.
One of our economic development grants is the Recompete Plant Strategy Development Grant. And one of the big focuses with that is working with our rural communities to look at what is causing people to, leave their communities. What are some of the strengths within the communities that keep people there? And how can we work together to develop a plan to really address those gaps in specifically the working age population, so ages 25 to 55. But a big part of this is getting out to the communities. We recently traveled to 5 of the 6 communities we've been able to make it out to, and have met with community members, community leaders, just discussing, what are you seeing in your communities, and what strategies do you think could be implemented to really start addressing some of the needs and getting people to move back. We want our village communities to be thriving like they once were. And we feel like the community members really are the experts on what the community needs and what they want to see. And so that's a big part of it, is just getting out, having those conversations with community members. We are hoping to get back out another 2 times just to bring back from our first conversation, here are the things we heard from you. Now, how can we move forward with developing this regional plan to start addressing some of these gaps? We also, part of this is developing a regional advisory committee. So as we've been going out, we've been asking for interest from community members who want to really be a part of developing the plan and guiding that process. So we do have at our table over here a sign-up sheet that you can use. We also have an iPad if you're interested in being a part of that regional advisory committee. Again, the community members are the experts on their communities, what they want to see, what the needs are. So we want you to be involved. Yep, if you're interested in that, just please reach out to myself or to Dolores.
Thank you again, Rosa. The polls have closed. And we seem to have lost the on-screen presentation. There we go. Thanks, Sam. I also wanted to mention our Village Public Safety Officer program, which the funding received for that program has almost tripled in the last 10 years. And a lot of that has to do with Mr. Tim Brady, our program director, who's done a great job. I wore a tie today because Tim always shows up in a tie and shows me up. Tim just recently hired his 7th Village Public Safety Officer, which is really impressive for our region to have 7 VPSOs on staff. So we're really, really excited about that. Thanks, Tim. Just wanted to share some advocacy opportunities that we've had over the last year. We had Mary Peltola stop by and say hi a couple of days ago following her fisheries debate appearance. I don't know if you had the chance to attend the fisheries debate, but Mary wanted to make a point to stop by and visit KANA to hear about the things that we do and identify if there's opportunities for us to work together with her. We also hosted Mr. Brian Newland, the Assistant Secretary of the Interior for Indian Affairs, which is a pretty important position. He came to the community and met with a lot of local leaders. We had the chance to share with him some of the things that we're doing and some of the opportunities we have and the challenges that we face. And it occurs to me that Rosa has to get put on the spot one more time when we're going to talk about our internship program. When Mr. Newland heard about our internship program, his eyes lit up and he spoke at length about the opportunities he's received through his life as a youth growing into the workforce to work with his tribe and other agencies to get real job and life experience. And I was so impressed at the way that he spoke with our interns and with the way he emphasized how important the internship program is as we try to develop our next generation of leaders. We also had the opportunity to host Cassidy Hobbs with Senator Murkowski's staff. And I was told I should tell the story about we were driving Cassidy around town and we were sitting in front of the Navy SEAL base at the chain link gate in our KANA van. And a guy with flip-flops and shorts rode up next to us on a bicycle. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I told him who we were and what we were doing. And he looked us up and down and kind of sized us up. And he said, "Okay, well, I'm the officer in charge. I'll give you a tour." And so we had the chance to go on the Navy SEAL base. But a little bit later, Cassidy from Murkowski's office, she said, he didn't even bother to ask us for ID. But he was so confident that we were no threat and that he could quickly neutralize us that he gave us the chance to tour the facility and the base. So that was fun. Looking ahead, and this is the time when I wanted to ask Rosa to come up again and talk about our internship program, which was a smashing success, and we'll be continuing to have that program. Do we have any interns in the room today? Okay. You want to share that program, please?
Hello again. So the youth internship really was part of our department's commitment to elevate the quality of life of the people we serve and really to kind of play a part in building this next, our next generation of leaders. One of the goals was to provide opportunities and build a foundation of success through professional development, leadership, workshops, mentorship, cultural integration, and pride. We really worked hard, and I say we, Maggie Shirley, one of our case managers with our employment and training team, really worked hard to collaborate with several different departments within KANA, with presenters to ensure that our internships were really going to get, exposure to all of the different services that we offer at KANA, but also to incorporate culture. So really our Alutiiq values were kind of at the center of everything that we were, doing as we developed the internship program. We were able to have a rotation through 4 of the departments, which included human services, communications, the wellness center, facilities, and then they also had a rotation within our own department. We did a lot of the leadership training and workshops during the rotation with our department. This year we had 6 interns. We did recruit for 8, but we had 6 interns. It was the first year we've done anything like this. And I didn't see any of them in the room, but we had Stormy, Adriana, Kaden, Caleb, Kirsten, and Waylon. 2 of our interns actually came in from one of our village communities, so we were really excited to get, have them involved with the internship. We also, just kind of looking to the future, we hope to have another round of the KANA Experience internship this coming year. And then we also are hoping to be able to facilitate similar internships within our rural communities so that our youth can really see what the opportunities are for them in their own community. So we're hoping to, collaborate and build some partnerships with our tribes, with some of the other major employers, to see how we can facilitate a similar rotation, maybe at some of the different facilities. A big part of this is showing our youth that there are opportunities here and what the pathways to those opportunities are, so that we can, keep them here so they can one day be our leaders. So that's a big part of why this is important to us. Yeah, that's if anyone has questions about youth internships. The KANA Experience internship is just one part of what we do. We also just have youth internships around all of our communities. So please reach out to me if you have any ideas on how, we can, again, just facilitate those partnerships and collaborations.
So I'm going to make Rosa come back one more time. She doesn't know if I'm serious. I actually am, because what I would like to do at this point, we traditionally have KANA staff come up and introduce themselves, their job title, and how long they've been with the organization. And so I'd like to take the chance to do that now, so that you can see the people that are working for you and the programs that we're providing. And I'll start with myself as KANA staff start to come to the front. I'm inviting you all up here. I've been with the Kodiak Area Native Association for 18 years as of Thursday. And when I started, thank you. Thank you. I started the Tuesday after the annual meeting in 2006. So I've really, it's been a full 18 years. But I've been at KANA that long because it's been just it's been a great opportunity for me, and the people that I work with and for have been so supportive. And so I want to thank you and introduce the rest of our staff. It's quite a line of folks here. Go ahead, Nicole.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicole Miles. I'm the Vice President of Public Affairs, and I've been with KANA for 14 years.
Shemai, my name's Jen Caskey. I'm the Chief of Staff, and I've been with KANA for 6.5 years.
Morning, everyone. My name is Kylie Yavorsky. I've been with KANA for the last 6 years. I'm Communications Manager. Hello, I'm Cassie Keplinger, your Elder Services Director here at KANA, and I've been at KANA for a combined total of about 12 years.
Cassie's a lot taller than me. I'm Arwen Boats. I'm the Vice President of Community Services, and I've been with KANA for 11 and a half-ish years. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Caroline Roberts. I'm a communications specialist, and I've been here since January.
Hi, my name is Carrie Halter. I am a campaign and outreach coordinator in the communications department, and I've been at KANA a combined 4.5 years.
Shemai, my name is Grace Clark. I'm the patient access lead, and I've been with KANA for 2 years now.
Hello again. Rosa Skonberg. I'm the Workforce and Economic Development Director, and I've been with KANA for 9 years.
Shemai, I'm Sam Booch, and I've been with KANA for about 7 years now. I'm the compliance manager here.
Good morning. My name is Ivan Castellon. I am a PC technician, and I've been with KANA for the last 4 years now.
Hi, I'm Garrett James. I'm the Health Service Officer. I've been with KANA for about 4 months.
Good morning. My name is Holly, and I work as a cultural peer support specialist, and I've been here for about 6 months.
Morning. I'm Wesley Olson, one of the PC technicians, been here for 2 years.
Shemai, everyone. Good morning. I'm Robert Aga. I'm Cultural Peer Support Specialist. I've been here almost a year, coming up on my anniversary, December 4th.
Hi, I'm Alicia Flores. I'm a Cultural Peer Support Specialist, and I've been here 1 year. Good morning. I'm Michaela Tyner. I'm the Behavioral Health Office Manager, and I've been with KANA for 4 years.
Good morning. I'm Allison Fong. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, and I've been with KANA since June.
Good morning. I'm Jordan Beard. I'm a behavioral health clinician, and I've been here for 5.5 years.
Hi, I'm Samantha Merler-Enbaum. I'm a behavioral health clinician, and I've been here about 6.5 years.
Shemai, my name is Esther Anderson. I am a certified medical lab assistant, and I've been with KANA for 22 months.
Good morning. I'm Jody Coe. I work for the Tribal Victim Services. I am the intensive case manager. I've been with KANA. Next month, it'll be 3 years.
Good morning. I am Lisa Truitt. I am with Wellness and Prevention, and I've been with KANA 5.5 years.
Good morning. I'm Stephen Flora. I'm the Behavioral Health Director, and I've been with KANA a combined 4 years.
My name is Albi Lamala. I'm a patient van driver. I've been with KANA for 1 year.
Hi, my name is David. I'm a van driver for KANA, and I've been with KANA for 5 years.
I am Penny Boucher, and I'm the Elder Services Coordinator. And I've been with KANA for a combined total of 9 years.
Shemai, my name is Maya Contreras, and I am the Child and Family Services Manager, and I've been with KANA for 1 year.
Hi, my name is Danielle Butts. I'm the Family Services Coordinator for the Tribal Victim Services and Family Violence Prevention Programs. I've been with KANA for 2 years.
Shemai, my name is Casey Jo Wright. I am honored to be one of our environmental technicians, and I have been with KANA for 1.5 years.
Good morning. My name is Sophie Weaver, and I'm the environmental specialist, and I started with KANA in June.
Good morning. My name is Celeste Osowski. I'm one of KANA's environmental technicians, and I've been with KANA since April.
My name is Tyler Cornelis. I am the Environmental and Climate Programs Director, and I've been at KANA for 10.5 years.
Good morning. My name is Andy Wall. I'm the Environmental Program Supervisor, and I'm closing in on 6 years pretty soon.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Connor Van Alstyne. I am a grant specialist. I've been with KANA since December of this last year, and I work primarily with the environmental and climate programs. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Ted Irvin. I'm also a member of the grants team. I primarily support the Community Services Division, and I have been with KANA since May.
Hi, my name's Rihanna Davis. I'm with the Infant Learning Program. I've been with them for 1 month this time, previously 2 years. Chamai, everyone. I'm Ofi Solba, Chamai home visitor. Been with KANA for almost 3 years.
Good morning. I'm Bernadette Villaroya, the Assistant Controller. Been with KANA for 2.5 years. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nate Belanger. I'm the Employment and Training Coordinator, and I've been with KANA for 1 year.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jasmine Leva, and I'm the Support Services Coordinator, and I'll be hitting my 4 years in January.
Good morning. My name is Brittany Feltoff. I am the Workforce Development Specialist, and I've been with KANA for 1.5 years.
Hi, I'm Walker Morris, and I work for facilities. I've been working here for 4 years.
Morning, guys. My name is Miles Sarkowski. I'm a physical therapist, and I've been here a little over 2 years.
Morning, my name's John Saliva. I'm a personal trainer and I've been with KANA for 2 years.
Good morning. My name is Zoe Bitkus. I'm the Community Care Coordinator with Patient Experience, and I've been here a little over a year.
Good morning. My name is Angelica Luckenbach. I am the Referred Care Manager. I've been here almost 5 years.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Wolkoff. With PRC, I'm the director, and I've been here 10 years.
Hello, I'm Hope Howell, Patient Travel Manager, and I'll be here with KANA 16 years next month.
Good morning. My name is Brandy Wagner. I'm a second generation KANA employee, and I just hit my 1 year anniversary. I'm a referred care coordinator.
Hi, my name is Shania Brown. I'm a patient travel specialist. I've been working for KANA for 7 months now.
Good morning. My name is JC Aga. I'm a referred care coordinator. I've been working with KANA for almost 2 years.
Good morning. My name is Marilos, Patient Benefits Coordinator, and I'm working for KANA for 1.5 years now.
Good morning. My name is Rosalind Green. I am the Patient Benefits Coordinator, and KANA has been home to me the last 4 years.
Hi, my name is Trinity Jeffcoat. I have been with KANA for 2 years, and I'm a communication specialist too.
Good morning. My name is Jim McClellan, and I have just cleared a year, and I am the Facilities Director for KANA.
Good morning. My name is David Castro. I work with facilities and for 1 year now.
Good morning. My name is Allie House Hoffman, and I have been the new VPSO since September 30th.
And my name is Tim Brady. I'm the VPSO coordinator, and I've been with KANA for 5 years.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Stephen Tullis. I've had the pleasure of being one of your staff dentists for going on 8 years next month.
Good morning, everyone. I am April Madrid. I serve as a facilities office specialist, and I'm proud to have been part of KANA team for over 6 years now. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Damiana Odie Hockmuth. I'm been working for KANA, I think going on 12 years, kind of blending. Currently a dental care coordinator for the dental department.
Shmai, good morning. Heather Parker, dental hygienist and case manager. I've had the honor and pleasure of working and serving our people for 29 years now.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Roger Mendoza. I'm career specialist. I've been with KANA 5 years.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ashley Frost. I'm the lab director, and in January, it'll be 8 years for me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Justine. I work in the lab as certified medical lab assistant, and I've been with KANA for almost 3 years.
Good morning. My name is Angelica DiCastro. I'm the lab administrative assistant, and I've been with KANA for over 3 years.
I am Becky Kappelhoff, Executive Admin Assistant for the Health Department, and I've been with KANA 8 months.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shalo Salgatar. I'm the Human Resources Manager, and I've been with KANA for 1 year and 8 months.
Shamai, my name is Tina Enenga. I'm the HR Director, and I've been with KANA almost 8 years.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shannon Panthin. I'm the Training and Development Manager. I've been with KANA for 39 days today.
Good morning, everyone. Greg Zagina. I'm our Senior Director of Business Development. I've been with KANA for about 9.5 years now.
Good morning. I'm Marnie with KANA's Tribal Voc Rehab Program as the lead VR counselor, and I've been with KANA 11 years, 7 months, give or take.
Hello, my name is Anna Castro, and I have been with KANA for 2 years, finance accounts payable.
Good morning. My name is Juvie Small. I'm the dental care coordinator, and I've been with KANA for 6 years.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dolores Gregory. I am the Economic Development Recompete Plan Coordinator. It's a mouthful. I've been with KANA for a little over 3 months now.
Hello, my name is Roxana Castellon. I am the dental front desk specialist, and I've been with KANA since April.
Good morning. My name is Sayuri Seto. I've been dental assisting here at KANA for the past 7 months.
Good morning. My name is Carissa Stoker. I am the Vice President of Healthcare Services, and last week was my 8-year anniversary.
Good morning, Shanna Rockenbach. I am the Design Coordinator for the Communications Department, and I've been here for a little over 6 years.
Hello, I'm Tatiana Charliega. I'm one of the front desk specialists, and I've been here 2 years.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ladsel. I'm working at Postal Service at KANA, and I'm with KANA for 10 years.
Good morning. My name is BC Butler, Administrative Manager, and I have been with KANA for 4 years.
Good morning. My name is Julie Kaiser. I work as an Indian Child Welfare Advocate. I've been with KANA for a combined total of over 22 years. Good to serve you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And I want to thank you for allowing KANA staff to come forward and introduce themselves. I think it's important for you to see the people who are working to support you either out front or behind the scenes. We've got a lot of people who are working really hard. And I was looking at human resources reports, and last year we had a turnover rate of 12.9%. And if you're wondering, it's pretty good. The healthcare and social services industry generally has a turnover rate of about 21 to 22%. And we also live in a transient community with Coast Guard population that comes and goes every 3 years. So we've had really good success keeping good people to support you over the last few years. And I wanted to acknowledge all of the staff who are working to support you. I'd like to now recognize additionally some staff, and we want to recognize people for their service, folks who have worked for KANA for 5 years. Do we have that up on the screen? So these are the folks who have hit 5 years of service with KANA. We have Hill Apostol, Sarah Arneson, Jordan Beard, Tim Brady, Paige Buer, Jasmine Castro, David Diocaris, Teresa Joy Fernando, Eric Linduska, Angelica Luckenbach, Roger Mendoza, Jean Pretorius, Willem Pretorius, Natalie Saturn, Lisa Truitt, and Andy Wall. Many of those folks you had the opportunity to hear from individually as they introduced themselves. We do have service awards available for all of those folks at 5 years. How about a round of applause again for those folks? Thanks. Next, we have at 10 years, Dr. Evan Jones. Sorry, I'll put Even back up on the screen there for a few seconds. Then we have Carolyn Knowles. Tyler Cornelis. Ledzel Vista. And Stacy Wolkoff. Thanks. Nice job, Stacy. 15 years. I'd like to recognize Danina Moto, a community health aid practitioner. Oops. I'd like to read a little bit about Deneen. Deneen began her career at KANA on October 1st, 2009 as a community health aide in Akiak with a passion to support and serve her people. She excelled in her studies, and after completing the 4-session training curriculum and a clinical skills preceptorship and exam, she reached the highest level of state certification under the CHAP Certification Board in 2018 as a practitioner. Donine in her CHAP role serves as a vital link in the Alaska Area Native Health Service and Alaska Native Healthcare System. Over the last 15 years, Donine has supported thousands of patient encounters, has provided her clinical expertise from birth to end of life, and she's passionate, committed, and a valued member of the KANA team. Thanks, Donine, for 15 years. Next, I'd like to recognize our good friend, Ms. Rebecca Don, who has served the Kodiak community for 35 years. Rebecca's going to come up here in a second, but before she does, I wanted to share a little bit about Rebecca. She's hired in December 11th, 1989. Does that sound right? Okay, good. So she's served in many different capacities over the years, including as a prenatal support specialist, HIV/AIDS educator, RN case manager, chat manager, and itinerant registered nurse. Rebecca's a phenomenal person with a heart of gold, and for decades, she has supported our people, and she's embodied KANA's mission. She's compassionate, caring, and she's a person that can't do without. So if I may, I'd like to invite Rebecca up.
Okay, I'm going to try to do this without crying. I guess if you cry a lot, then you don't hold it in, so you don't end up being a depressed person, I guess. And in the tradition of elders, since you guys have adopted me into the community, and I might never get a chance to tell you this, I am the daughter of Mabel Elizabeth Tackett and the late Mabel Elizabeth Tackett and Howard Leo Fulton Jr. They come from Kentucky, and I recently found out that my mother is a direct descendant and her grandmother of the Tackett Cherokee Indian tribe that operates that area. My grandmother was one of 13 children born into that tribe. My mother was born in an apartment, empty apartment. My grandmother squatted down and had her and brought her home. My mom was like 36 before she ever had a birth certificate. So recently we did some research. So I do want to honor where I came from in the tradition of the Alutiiq Native elders. I went to nursing school in 1987 and went to nursing school where they, had the little white hats and the white uniforms and the nylons and the white shoes. We had no cell phones, no computers, no internet, manual typewriter that you had to correct with the correction thing, and we had to do everything book research and everything was handwritten. We had narrative charting, no checklists. Things were pretty manual back then. Again, I began my career in 1989, the career that has changed my life, with KANA, flying 7 on, 7 off to the village of Old Harbor. Always been kind of my home village. Doing medical care during the oil spill, and I was the only person there, really, to kind of handle things. The first thing I realized when I landed my feet on the ground was I really didn't know anything, and I couldn't believe I got this job. Again, no computers, no cell phone, no internet. We had a landline that worked most of the time, and we had the VHF radio. Okay. I have worked for KANA through 2 epidemics, the HIV epidemic and the COVID pandemic. I have worked a job that has changed my life, become mostly part of my DNA. And I was given the opportunity to work at a job that I love for people that I truly love. That very few people can really say in their lifetime. I'm very thankful for that. And I just wanted to make a little short presentation about some of the parts of the things that I miss from the good old days. 1, I miss all my elder friends. I can't even begin to name them all. I miss the visits with them, holding hands, the stories, and all the things that they taught me. And I thought I'd just give a funny little story about the late Betty Nelson, one of my favorite elder friends in Port Lions. And every time I'd go to Port Lions, I would go over to Betty's and visit her, of course. And she became what was called my Banya buddy, right? So Betty's in her 80s, and she insists on driving her car, her blue truck, to come and pick me up at the clinic. She'd come by and pick me up and whatever. One day she came by and picked me up. And of course, I just recently found out that if you're 70 or older, you really need to be in a Banya with somebody, right? And I guess that includes me now, but so I would go with her because, she was elder and, we had, so she says when I get in the car, she says, you have to quit calling me your Banya buddy because people are going to really talk. And I'll never forget that because I thought, well, just let them talk. I'm just watching over you. Okay, just a few things that I really miss. Long village visits, not just a day or 2 days, but all week. And one thing I want to say to people that travel to the villages, and this used to always get to me, and now it gets to me if my kids come over and see me on Spruce Island. If you're always worried about when you're going to get back, when am I going to get back, then you're never fully present when you're there. So, it takes village people a little while to get, really know that you're there, So I used to, the late Clyda Christensen used to always tell me, you'll get home when God wants you to get home. And if Clyda told you not to get on the plane, don't get on it. Just stay. Okay. I miss the CHA and the CHP program, the health aid program, the home visitors and the elders visits. That has changed tremendously in our area. And I really, really miss that. And I miss the way that in the old days, everything, you went and brought the elders their medicine. You renewed their medicine for them, and they didn't really have to come to the clinic or really be in charge. It's a little harder for them now. I really miss having more than 5 to 7 minutes to room a patient. Okay, I remember Dr. Pletnikoff asked me once, just what's the problem with you rooming somebody in 7 minutes? I was like, well, you got to be kidding. You know, they want to know about my garden and they want to talk to me about this and that. And then finally they get around to why they're really there. So, you know, we have to remember that's hard for people to hurry up. I miss providers interacting with their patients without a computer. They used to, you know, look at you. They used to not have the computer, but, you know, of course, things have changed and there's many more requirements. But having the computer in the room it's distracting, I feel. I miss being seen for more than one problem, right? You're supposed to be seen for more than one problem. You know, providers have, you know, a lot of more requirements. They have to see you faster. So you have to kind of spit out that one problem and get it done with and you're gone. But I just want to remind the providers, I didn't see any providers in the lineup, that we are more than just one problem. We're physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual beings, and all of our problems are interconnected. I miss a manual blood pressure instead of the machine. Let me tell you, if you get a bad reading on a machine blood pressure, always have somebody take it manually. It might be really different. I really miss in-person continuing education classes. We used to have morning huddle. They don't do that anymore, where all the nurses and everybody got together and we just have this little huddle in the morning. They've changed hours and different schedules that make that not possible. I missed face-to-face employee evaluations. A lot of those are online. And just face-to-face communication in general, you know, because now it's a message or the message bank or email or something. And finally, I miss holding hands, hugs, crying with patients, and human touch. It seems like since the COVID epidemic, that people just don't get as close to people as they used to. Medical requirements have changed. There's layers and layers of coding and building, and there's insurance, and there's all kinds of layers and layers that have been forced on us through rules and regulations that have taken those things away from us. And finally, I want to say to everybody in the group, those of you that are working really hard, that are overwhelmed, as well as the medical providers that are stretched thin, the case managers, the triage nurses, I want to leave you with my 6 kayak life lessons. I came up with these life lessons as me and my family, my 3 kids, had negotiated North Cape in around the island of Spruce Island. We kayaked the whole entire island. I'm in the kayak. All of a sudden, this comes to me, and I'm trying to, you know, my daughter says, write it down, and, you know, and Rocky's saying, wait, we're in the kayak, hold still. But these life lessons really can apply to any job. First thing, one paddle at a time. Second thing, don't rock the boat. Third thing, glide gently through the rocks. We all have rocks in our way. Take it gently. Take time to take it all in. You know, medical, high-stress jobs, we never do that. Number 5, be sure you look out for your fellow travelers. If you see somebody in trouble, I'll room that patient for you. How can I help you out? And 6, focus on how far you've come rather than how far you have to go. Thank you guys very much.
Okay. Want to make sure we don't poke anybody in the eye, but for your 6 kayak lessons, I wanted to share that paddle from Rolf and Ramona Christensen, and flowers, and Do you have enough hands, Rebecca, to carry that stuff? Okay. Thank you very much. Your service has been invaluable, and you're such a treasure to the community. Thank you again. I'd like to now introduce from ANTHC, the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium, and the Alaska Native Medical Center, Ms. Natasha Singh, the ANTHC Interim President and Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Alan Veerling, the ANMC Administrator. They're going to share with you some updates and goings on at our Anchorage location. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. This mic is a little sensitive, so can you all hear me okay? Thank you. Basit Chair Nelson, thank you. Thank you to the KANA board for the invitation to join your annual meeting. My name is Natasha Singh, and I currently serve as the interim ANTHC president and CEO. I joined ANTHC a few years ago as the vice president of legal affairs. Prior to working at ANTHC, I was at Tanana Chiefs Conference for 14 years. I'm a Stevens Village tribal citizen. My parents are Carm and Renee Singh, and my grandparents are the late Steve and Valerie Matthew. I have 3 children, and they are Caltag tribal members, which is also on the Yukon River, about 300 miles downriver from where I'm from in Stevens Village. I just really appreciate the energy in this room and how you're celebrating your staff. I think it really demonstrates our Native values shining through KANA as an organization. It's just amazing to see. My time at Tanana Chiefs Conference, I think is similar. It reminds me of KANA in that the model is a holistic view of our individual people and our communities. And I really appreciated the updates of the programs across your system here, really addressing our villages as well as your hub. I think as a tribal health system, we try to meet the needs of our patients wherever they are in Alaska, whether they be in a village or in an urban center. And always our hearts are looking at the villages because right now they're at risk with the economy the way it is, the high costs of housing, and our tribal health organizations and their ability to reach programs that wrap around from education, public safety, child protection. That's how we'll sustain our villages and keep them thriving. So I really appreciate all the work KANA's doing. At ANTHC, we just got done with a 3-day forum where we brought in the tribal health system from across the state. Really, ANTHC is trying to seek alignment with the tribal health system to ensure us Anchorage natives are listening to our people across the state. One theme that developed from the forum is we really need to have better plans as a system. Yes, we talk about the tribal health system, but how do we actually put pen and paper to that? Well, to start, we identified that our strategic plan at ANTHC needs to line up, supplement, and complement the strategic plans of our regional tribal health organizations. Taking that a step further, as ANTHC develops our master site facility plan, we also need to be informed by the master site facilities plans of the tribes and the regional tribal health organizations. We touched on the electronic health record. Currently, we share electronic health record across the system, And this provides for what we try to do is seamless patient care on the medical side. Right now, we haven't invested in our electronic health record the way we really should have, and it's very clunky system right now, and we're going to have to put a lot of investments in it to get it to where we need to be for patient coordination. We also touched on some challenges we're having at the Alaska Native Medical Center. First of all, the Indian Health Service still owns our hospital, and I think that's a kind of rare for the tribal health system. Most of our facilities are owned by the tribes. So we are working with the tribal health system to gain unity to try to get ANTHC in ownership of that hospital. And I'd like to thank the KANA board for being the first one to step up and support ANTHC in that effort. So thank you. We also talked about some of our financial arrangements at ANTHC that are challenge us from expanding services. Finally, we hit on patient travel and housing that has challenged ANTHC more recently. We had a travel summit twice in 2023 because of the significant challenges our patients face when traveling to Anchorage. The good news is we have made a significant improvement on patient travel and housing, and that improvement came out of the travel summit where we heard directly from our THOs, including KANA, about the challenges, and our THOs provided the suggestions we needed to get on the right track. And I say we're on the right track because we're not where we need to be. We acknowledge that, but we have made significant improvements, and input from the system is going to get us there. So thank you again for your collaboration. We will also be having an annual meeting on December 4th from 9 to 4, and ANTHC will hold that downtown in Anchorage, and that will be another time for the tribal health system to collaborate, provide the necessary input. I'm going to turn now to our strategic and financial plan. And well, before I do that, I'll say at the forum we heard, don't just talk about dollars. We need to talk about our patients as people and as individuals. And I really appreciate that. I think the reason we focus on our bottom line and our finances, to me, is because when we're in a strong financial position, we're able to open those service lines and create that access, create the better system that we want for our patients. And that's why we're focused at ANTHC more recently on our margin. Because for the past decade, we have really relied on large and infrequent financial settlements to sustain our operations. Over the past 2 years, we have focused on margin management initiatives to improve financial performance. We have expanded the use of 105L. It's a lease program provided by the Indian Self-Determination Act. We enhanced our revenue cycle process to reduce third-party denials, and we increased patient volumes. We also focused on cost reductions as we advocate for higher reimbursement rates. At our regular November meeting, the ANTHC board will receive an update of our closeout for FY24. We anticipate reporting continued budgetary improvements. At the August meeting, we were on target to achieve our projected $40 million in FY24 operating margin improvements. Also at the August meeting, the board passed a break-even budget for FY25, projecting a 0% operating margin. Margin management efforts continue into FY25, and we're striving for another $25 million in margin management savings planned. Despite industry and statewide financial pressures like impacts of Medicaid redetermination and third-party payers limiting or reducing payments, ANTHC's overall financial position is improving. We are actively engaged in improvements to reach national benchmarks for cash on hand, investments, and operating margin over the long term. While a break-even budget is a hard place to be when you're asking your staff to really squeeze out a $65 million in margin improvements, we are on the right step. We're bending that curve to get in a strong financial position so really we can meet the system and our THOs of where they need to be. We hear the demands across the state to help with behavioral health, fill the gaps with the housing needs, fill the gaps with field clinics. We understand that as a system, the economies of scale make sense for many specialty cares to be housed in Anchorage, but really better planning and communication with our regional tribal health organizations will let us bring those specialty services closer to home. And that's kind of a not a short-term goal, not a long-term goal, but it's kind of a mid-term goal that we want to really develop strong business plans to get specialty clinics closer to the home, the ones that make sense to do so. Also at the November board meeting, we will report on the closeout of our FY24 strategic priorities. Our board measures us on specific priorities throughout the year and holds us accountable to those. We just approved a 25 organizational scorecard, continuing to advance the goals and objectives of our 3-year strategic plan. This new scorecard includes 24 total measures, including 14 new measures. The measures fall under key focus areas: enhancing engagement with tribes and tribal health organizations, accelerating improvements in patient access, satisfaction, and travel and housing, strengthening foundational processes and technologies, supporting improved health services within rural communities, and continuing to focus and achieve our break-even operating margin. To elevate new priorities and strategically focus the organization in key areas, we retired specific measures from last year's scorecard. At this time, I'll turn it over to our ANMC Administrator, Alan Veerling, to offer an update on transformational investments we are making through the emergency services expansion, short-term skilled nursing facility, and continued focus on travel-related improvements. And I, in the spirit of really thanking our staff as you've set the tone today at your meeting, I would like to thank Alan Veerling for bringing best practices in hospital administration to the Alaska Native Medical Center. A lot of the margin initiatives are due to his efforts and his staff efforts. He is also bringing a level of quality of care and that focus of patient quality of care that we have not seen at the Alaska Native Medical Center. So I feel like we're turning the ANMC around, where our staff, one of our staff said, we asked our staff, why do you think we increased our employee engagement scores this year? And one long-term staff said, it's because you're actually doing what we've said we've always wanted to do, and we're actually seeing that we're doing that now. And so I'd like to thank Alan for being one of the change makers for ANTHC.
Thanks very much, Natasha. So I'm technologically challenged all the time. We're going to see if this works. So thanks very much. I appreciate being here more than you possibly know. This was the very first place I came when I took over as the administrator at ANMC. And I remember sitting in an office someplace that direction, And I met with Mike and met with Carissa, and we walked past here and it was under renovation. And when you heard earlier, don't think about where you're going, think about where you've been. That's great. Because when you walk in this building, this is such a remarkable achievement and it is lovely. It is lovely. I don't know what the vision was, Mike, but you and your team have knocked it out of the park. This is outstanding. So kudos to you and all the folks here at KANA. This is great. As I got a chance to walk around Elder Family Services and Child Support and peer support, wellness and prevention, and the folks at PRC, what a great team. You are blessed and fortunate to be taken care of by so many people who really care. We want you to know that we care in Anchorage as well. We want you to know that when you're there, you're our first and primary concern. The organization has invested almost $600 million in the last 2 years, or $600 million allocated to change the way the campus in Anchorage looks. The emergency department was built too small the day it opened up. The day it opened up, it had 30 people working in it. Today we have 150. The building was too small. There weren't enough patients. There weren't enough rooms. We had semi-private rooms for everything. When the IHLs built that facility, they didn't build it to community standards and didn't give the things we needed to provide community standard level of care. Under the direction of the board and under Natasha's leadership, all that's changing. So we've got a bunch of big projects, and I want to talk about a couple of them. The emergency services expansion will take our emergency department from 25 rooms to almost 70. We add 30 new rooms in July of 2025. So really in about 7 months, we open up a whole nother area of the emergency department, almost twice as big as what we've got today. If you've been in our emergency department, you know that patients stand in the hallways or sit in the hallways, and there aren't private rooms. There are rooms that are separated by a curtain. So there's no privacy. And so it's very difficult sometimes not only to take care of patients, but it's also difficult to provide people the level of care that they deserve. That's changing. We've opened up the brand new emergency department entrance that gave us 18 additional spaces, and it has been a wonderful experience thus far. 7 or 8 months from now, 30 more rooms, and those will be available really quickly. In 2025, 2026, we open up the second floor, which gives us the opportunity to expand our operating room capacity. In the operating room, we performed 20% more surgeries in the past year than the year before, which means better access to care. That's what that's about. You shouldn't have a need for surgery that you can't get into an operating room, and you shouldn't have to go someplace else to get it because we can't do it. And so we're changing these things. Part of that bill that takes that problem and helps to resolve it after 25 years. So that's a pretty significant move for us. The second significant move is long-term care. Skilled nursing facilities in Alaska are in a very desperate position. Alaska ranks 50th of all the states in the nation in the availability of skilled nursing beds. If we doubled the number of skilled nursing beds in Alaska, we'd be number 49. That's how far behind Alaska is. So to help fix that problem, to help make that better, our board gave us direction to put in an 80-bed facility on our campus. So that's underway. We've pulled utilities, the foundation's up. We've got the insulated brick going up. We'll have steel walls by the end of this year, under cover next year, and in 2026 we open. Next summer, we hire the administrator for that area. And then after that, we begin to hire staff. But that's 80 beds, which will free up space in the hospital that we desperately need. And it helps us take care of our elders. And that's one of the things that's been the most touching and most important thing probably about coming to Alaska, is to see the way that the elders are cared for. And the Alaska Native Medical Center now is in a position to have a real impact in a significant and foundational way to fix that problem. In 2026, that building opens up. That building will look for 3 types of patients. There are 3 things we really want to provide. Short-term rehab. I met your therapy department back here. We need to have a close relationship with them. Short-term rehab under 21 days, longer-term rehab under 250 days. Patients who've had strokes, patients who suffered as a result of being in the intensive care units, traumatic victims. And then the third population is a population that I think is very difficult to take care of. And in Anchorage, it's very hard. And that's taking care of the hospice patient, the patient who's waiting for the final transition of life. That will be taken care of in this new facility. So we do the things that are necessary, I think, now to really get us in a good position for all of the lifespan. We're renovating all of the nursing units within the hospital. That's almost complete. And patient housing, which Natasha mentioned, I think is really important. 2 years ago when I arrived, we got lots of complaints about I stood in line for 8 hours. I stood in line to get my room key for 14 hours. I stood in line. I stood in line. I was tired. I'd flown all day. I couldn't get to a room. In the month of September, 97% of the patients who arrived at patient housing were in their room within 30 minutes. That is remarkable because where we were, was not a good place. We've got a long way to go. So far, the board has asked us, they've given us the opportunity to go and see if we can acquire another building because we still put 100 to 200 people in the community every night. We know we need to fix that and get those folks on campus and get those folks in a facility that we run and we control that is created for the Alaska Native people. And so we're in the process of doing our due diligence today. But to go from hours and hours and hours of waiting, get your room key in 30 minutes, that is a tremendous advancement, but we're not there yet. We have a ways to go. The other things we work hard on all the time are physician recruiting. There are not enough providers in Alaska, and we're working hard on that in a number of ways. We were very fortunate that in the last, about the last 3 weeks, we have signed 3 American Indian or Alaska Native providers, including a cardiologist trained at Harvard, coming back to Alaska. Well, that's amazing for us. So we're moving things down the road a long way. I want to commend the nurse for 35 years. I've been a nurse since, well, I went to school in the 80s. And everything you said, I thought, oh my God, I remember that so well. It was so much nicer. I didn't have a damn computer. It was great. Yep, it was great. So kudos to you for staying here for so long and doing such a great job. And you're what we always thought about when I was a young man, when I was a young nurse. We always wanted to be you, somebody who'd had a huge commitment and done such great work in the community. So God bless you and thank you very much. That's remarkable. Thanks all of you for all your time.
We're available for questions if there's any questions from the audience. While you get your courage, I'd just like to say thank you to your president here, Mike, and the administration. We're kind of in a transition time at ANTHC. Big changes, a lot of progress. We're really pushing our staff. And sometimes it's terrifying to be interim. And I think I called Mike in a terrifying moment, and he provided the advice and guidance that I really needed at the time and that I've taken to my team. And with his experience and leadership here working on the island, I really appreciate the partnership. So thank you.
Thanks, Natasha. Thanks, Alan. I'd like to now invite Ms. Joy Mariner. She is with BDO, our audit firm. She's our BDO assurance practice leader, and she's going to, by screen, I believe, share our FY23 audit report. There you are, Joy.
Yeah, hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all virtually. I appreciate you allowing me to join you virtually. I have 3 high schoolers this year, and as a mother of 3 high schoolers, it's a lot to manage just with all of their school activities. So being able to join you remotely today is a huge blessing for me. As Mike mentioned, my name's Joy Mariner, and I serve as the lead engagement partner on the audit of KANA, and had the pleasure of working with your team this year on the 2023 financial statement audit. That audit has been completed, and I'm really going through just a summary with you. I did meet with the board of directors to go through a little more in more detail the activities for KANA this year. And a couple of quick things to say before we dive into too many of the details that The audit of the financial statements for KANA this year was, let me just stop my sharing so you can see me for a moment. But the audit of the financial statements was more exciting this year. You had a lot going on in 2023, including new bonds that you issued for the marketplace building, significant new grant activity, as has been mentioned by the team there. And some turnover, as Mike mentioned, you've been rebuilding your grants department. So turnover in the grants department and the finance department. So a lot of big opportunities, challenges, and transactions this year. But that comes with a few things that we're going to go through today that are things that the team's working through on the financial side with the board of directors. So the audit report will be available online to you. I'm not going to go through the 84 pages of the audit report, but all I'll do is go through a few highlights with you today at the meeting. So when you look through, a few things, we're going to talk about the audit results and then look at some financial statement trends and the changes from last year. I actually have 6 years of data, and I think for those of you who aren't accountants, I'll keep this brief, but I think that it's hard to look at just 3 years because we had such a volatile 3-year period of time, even 4 years. So I went ahead and left 6 years of data so you can see those trends over that longer period of time, because a lot has happened with the pandemic, and the federal funding levels have changed, and things really are likely to fluctuate even as you go forward. So let's look at the audit results. So just really quickly, I like to remind everyone that financial reporting are financial statements. They're given to people who need to make decisions. So for you, that's primarily the board and your management team. Your auditors have to review your financials, and then other external parties care. And in your case now, because you issued the bonds, they actually have external public market people who have interest in the financial information of KANA. But primarily, your management team's responsible for these. These are not BDO's financial statements, but they are KANA's financials based on your information. And your team primarily drafted the financial statements for 23. So let's look at the auditing standards we follow. Your team has to follow 4 different types of audits. We actually comply with the audit standards. They have to be subject to the auditing procedures for 4 different audits. So we're engaged to do your financial statement audit in accordance with generally accepted standards. And then we also follow government auditing standards, which are a higher level of assurance, because you do receive federal and state financial assistance. And then we also perform an audit of your federal awards and an audit of your state awards. We call that the single audit. And those are the last 2 items on this slide. So let's go through kind of the results at a high level. Our report of the independent auditor. We do have your basic financial statements. We issued an unmodified or clean report on a clean opinion on the financial statements, which states that you've presented fairly in all material respects your financial position for 2020. And this should say 2023. I apologize. I actually updated this myself. So this is for 2023's audit. 2024's year end just changed over just a few days ago, 2 weeks ago or so. So this is for 2023. For the single audit, we also have a clean opinion on your compliance for your federal and state awards. That means you complied in all material respects with the provisions of your federal and state awards. However, we did identify a few items this year that were considered non-compliance, but were not considered to be material non-compliance. So again, still a clean opinion, but a few items that we identified and we brought to the attention of the board, which I'll talk about in just a moment. So in terms of the internal control side and the items that we did report to the board of directors, the first one has to do with your financial statement preparation, which is very closely linked to the second, and the reconciliation of grants. With turnover in the finance department during the year, I believe Ali came on mid-year, did not have a whole year of activity and familiarity with the books and records. There were delays in the preparation of your financial statement information, delays in closing of the books and records, and the initial financial statements that we received have been adjusted to be accurate. There were significant adjustments to the grants. As Mike mentioned, there were significant more grant activity, which you'll see in a moment. And you KANA has so many different grants. I really enjoyed hearing from the staff and the different types of things that they're doing, because you have such a diverse variety of programs that you're performing. And it's not just Indian Health Service money or Bureau of Indian Affairs money. You have this marriage of so many different programs in so many different aspects. I heard elder care in there. There's, different programs for tribal assistance that Mike mentioned, where you're stepping in to help the tribes with some of their own grant accounting. So probably one of the most diverse variety of grants received around Alaska is running through KANA in the course of 1 year. So there were some challenges with the reconciliation of grants this year. And I know that there have been significant investments made in new staff in the grants team to help support them and make that improve as you move into 2025 now. But certainly as you close out 2024 and the books and records are prepared for audit this year. We also identified 3 other areas. One is a minor item with the procurement policy, which has already been addressed because the federal government requires this very specific wording in your contracts that has already been remedied. But there was one piece of that wording missing from some of your contracts we tested. And then there were some items related to the dental program for the sliding fee scale discount, just making sure that paperwork and documentation was kept in the right order over in those files. Otherwise, we did report a finding for late reporting of the federal and single audit. It was a decision, I think, wisely made by your team that they wanted to have accurate information as best presented for the financial statements of KANA in order to really just have the clean opinions, have the clean compliance to prove that your financial statements are sound versus making that 9-month deadline. And so the June 30 deadline did pass before you issued your financial statements, but does not appear to have any long-term impacts. And there's already a plan in place to issue the 2024 financial statements in a timely manner by the end of June. As I mentioned, we did, report a few of these things as what I would consider to be minor non-compliance as well, but nothing that we consider to be modified or qualified opinion. A couple quick things of note. You did implement a brand new standard this year, the lease standard. For the most part, KANA does not have leases and you're not leasing to others. There are a few leases that you do have running through your books and records. And this is a big new standard for those of you in the private industry. I heard a couple of the different organizations mentioned. Leases are very large. They can be really large. And so I think the biggest thing is here, just making sure you're monitoring what the leases are. They did a great job implementing this and we had no issues with it. And then you had a big project this year. You'll see it in a moment on the financials, the completion of the marketplace project. Those bonds that you issued were spent on, building it. It was largely complete, but still in construction at the end of 2023. I'm excited to see it the next time I'm in Kodiak this winter. And hopefully Mike can take me on a tour. Next year, there is a new standard coming out that we mentioned to the board, so it's something to just have on everybody's radar. There are changes every year to the accounting and the auditing world. But your team has really made some investments to put those standards into place and to address those for 2024. So on the single audit, I already talked through kind of the internal control items. On the state side, we audited the VPSO program. Your total state funding, just over 1.2 million. Federal funding, you have over $29 million in 2024, sorry, I'm living still in 24, but it's 2023. And we audited 3 different programs. This is your Indian Health Services Compact, the Community Health Center program, which operates in the clinics, and the Family Violence Prevention and Services Grant. So let's cover a few financial highlights, and then I promise to open it up for some questions. The statement of financial position shows you at a point in time, so on September 30th, so almost 1 year ago, what you had in assets, which are things that are owned by KANA. Liabilities are things you owe to others. And what remains is called net assets. the equity, really. So you can see a pretty big increase in assets and an increase in liabilities. The liability increase is largely related to the bonds and almost entirely. And then the assets also increased with the building of marketplace and the investments made in your capital. When you look at your assets, you can see that the composition of it is largely related to cash and investments and property and equipment. 63 million in property and equipment this year. Last year, this was a little more skewed towards assets. You had more in cash and less proportionally in property and equipment. Total cash and investments is also remaining stable. This is really important, something that we talk about with the board in terms of sustainability and working capital. Total of 67 million at the end of 2023. Keep in mind, you have to have a certain amount of cash and investments to meet bond requirements, but also because you have a lot of working capital. You don't always get reimbursed for grants the day you spend the money. Sometimes it can take upwards of 6 months from when you spend the money to when you get paid for it. So it's important to have a sufficient amount of working capital, and cash and investments is one of the biggest elements of working capital there at KANA. Liabilities, things you owe to others. This is a pretty new number here, $38.8 million this year in your bond payable. So that's taking up a big piece of the pie. In the past, that was largely related to deferred revenue or advanced grant funds. That's when the majority of your liabilities were. That's now a much smaller piece when you take into account the bonds itself, but total advanced grant funds of almost 11 million. And then you have accounts payables and accrued liabilities to your employees, those kinds of things, at about 7.5 million. So let's look at your net assets without donor restrictions. These are equity balances that aren't tied up in donor types of restricted assets. $83 million this year. Keep in mind, a significant portion of that is invested in property and equipment, so it's not liquidable. You can't just turn around and spend it. But the board is monitoring, and I went through with them the total months available in your net assets. So as you expand your operations, you want to also have enough net assets are available to meet your daily cash flow needs. And so it's really important that this number, as your expenses and revenues are going up, is also increasing and not decreasing. So I'm pleased to see that trend is fairly stable. You might have 1 year or two as you move forward where that number either decreases or stays stable. Again, this is largely going to be related to what your needs are on your operations side. But at this point, it is increasing and at a stable or healthy number. Total revenue this year also increased up to 57.3. So you had turnover in the accounting department, but you also had a lot more. There was additional information, additional grants, a lot more to track, and then fewer people trying to manage all of that. So I just want to kind of acknowledge your accounting team, your grants team for the hard work that they do, because a lot of organizations can't sustain this type of growth without investments in the grants team. So I'm pleased to hear Mike's comment about the investments you've been making. Otherwise, federal state revenues, you can see this over time. I also have patient service revenue in here, so you can kind of get a sense of what your patient revenues are looking like over time. Lows in 2020 because of COVID. Then you can see that stabilizing. A lot of people waited for procedures until 2022. So now we're kind of seeing 2023 back down to what I would consider to be more reasonable levels. But your federal funding also has fluctuated. A huge year in 2023, 36.6 million overall. But you can see that 2021 and 22, when some of the CARES money and the ARPA money and the assistance money was hitting, big years there too. So a lot of additional paperwork, a lot of additional requirements running through your team with these grants. And the patient revenue is a really important number to stay kind of steady and moving. So I'm pleased to see it kind of stabilizing in a kind of upward trend. If you were to kind of, smooth out 2020, 21, and 22, you would see a really stable increase in your patient service revenue as you expand the services that you're providing to the communities. Again, a little slice of the pie, what's happening with revenue. 37.2 million in compacts and grants, patient revenue 15.6. So those make up the majority of your revenue, but you do have a significant amount of investment income coming in and on kind of other money, including your investments in Gold Cash Bingo, for example, are also hitting in revenue. Total expenditures increasing with those new grants coming in the door, 49.6 million in 2023. Again, just significant operational expansion. That's, you know, a very big increase from last year. That was being managed by your teams. And this kind of gives you a sense of the functional areas that this money is spent on. Majority of this is health services, but you have a lot of community services realty also going on there, and a relatively slim general and administrative piece of the pie. Overall 6.5 million. Keep in mind, this doesn't include the amount of indirect that's been allocated, and it's something that your team is looking at in terms of recovering indirect to the full extent allowable. With that, I just want to kind of thank your team for their patience with this process. We had 3 federal major programs. I don't think we've had that many in a while, and a lot of requests with grants. Our team worked pretty hard with yours to make sure your grant schedules were accurate and rolling forward to 2024 correctly. And so while this year was a challenge in many ways with all of the operational expansion, I'm really excited to see how all these plans I've been listening to at your meeting, how they come to fruition in 2024 and 2025. And I'm always here to assist if needed. And with that, I'll pause, and maybe Mike, you can help facilitate any questions people may have.
Thanks, Joy. Thanks for joining us remotely. Are there any questions for Joy? I'm not seeing any. So thanks. I hope you have a great day, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
In the spirit of talking about our community partners, we wanted to lastly ask Maggie and Tika from Alaska Legal Services to come on up. We've had a partnership with the Alaska Legal Services Corporation for a number of years, and just wanted to make sure that folks are aware of the services that are available. Thanks, Maggie.
Great. Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for the invitation to be at your meeting today. My name is Maggie Hum. I'm the Executive Director at Alaska Legal Services Corporation. I'm based in Anchorage. I'm also here with our Supervising Attorney of Kodiak and Dillingham, Tika Lamadi. I know that there's just a few minutes until lunch, so I'm going to go as quickly as possible here. Oh, there's my presentation. Okay. And do I have a clicker up here? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So I want to tell you a little bit about what we do and how we partner with KANA. So like KANA, we've been around for almost 60 years. We are a statewide organization. We are in 15 total locations, and we have an office here in Kodiak. We provide free civil legal assistance to folks that are low income. And generally that is folks under 125% of the federal poverty guidelines. We provide everything from direct civil legal assistance in court to legal clinics, outreach. We have a volunteer program, and we have a self-help website. We handle a really wide variety of cases. All the cases that we handle generally help people to address when they're facing a loss of a critical need, a basic necessity. So food, housing, they're facing family violence. They're trying to do end-of-life planning. This was our impact last year. As you can see, we hit 201 communities around Alaska, and we impacted almost 19,000 Alaskans. Okay, so in Kodiak, these are our numbers specific to Kodiak. So we closed 164 cases in just about a year time. So I ran a report for roughly the last year. That was 360 household members we impacted. 67 were headed by seniors, and 105 kiddos were in those families. You can see the breakdown of our case types there. I'll just note I'm going to talk a little bit more about SNAP here in a second, but SNAP cases, which are food benefits for folks that are low income, the state system to process SNAP benefits broke down in 2022, and thousands of people called us for help with those cases. And we endeavored to turn nobody away. And thankfully, we have been able to do that, but it led to a double the number of people that we served in 2023. So here in Kodiak, we were able to achieve economic outcomes in totaling over $88,000, and a lot of those are SNAP benefits. All right, I'm going to fly through this in the interest of time. So we do a ton of outreach out here. I think I counted up about 17 outreach and education activities that our Kodiak staff have done. There's a list of them, and here are some of the photos. There's Tika. All of the health fairs we attended. So, okay, the KANA and ALSC, KANA has a board or appoints a community member to our board of directors. We have a 15-member board of directors. So just so you all know, you have representation on our board of directors. And we used to have an office here like over 20 years ago, and we had to close due to budget constraints many years ago. But more recently, in 2017, we began a partnership, a medical legal partnership project. We were part of a nationwide cohort of AmeriCorps volunteers. And one of our locations for our medical legal partnerships was here in Kodiak, embedded in KANA. That was extremely successful, and it actually turned into a staff attorney position. During COVID, we had to move out of KANA, like all medical legal partnerships had to across the nation, had to move, the lawyers out of the medical facilities. But thankfully in 2022, we were able to reestablish our presence here in Kodiak, and we have been in the Strout building since that time. But we continue with the medical legal partnership philosophy. And real quickly, you guys have been talking about this all morning, the social determinants of health, how the things that impact our health mostly are actually social, environmental, and behavioral factors, right? And so our medical legal partnerships are built on that philosophy. Lawyers are, healthcare practitioners are trained to identify issues that might be legal in nature, and then they're able to refer those patients to the lawyers that are embedded in the facilities. And so, as you can see, there are lots of things that impact our health, right? And some of those are legal in nature. If folks are getting evicted, if they're facing family violence, if they are in debt, if their PFDs are being garnished, those sorts of things. And so the idea is that by addressing these health harming legal needs, that you're helping to prevent legal issues down the road. I'm sorry, you're helping to prevent healthcare issues down the road. All right, how's my time? Time check, 5 minutes? Okay. All right, so our medical legal partnerships have been so successful, but we need to take it a step further. We are still not able to help the number of folks that we need to help. And this is what we call a justice gap. Around the nation, and particularly in Alaska, we are facing a pretty dire justice gap. It's a justice crisis. For every one person that comes to our door, we have to turn one away. For every 10,000 people in Alaska that are eligible for our services, we have one staff attorney. So we knew we cannot continue doing what we're doing. We have to innovate. And so I'm going to skip this next slide. You guys all know the barriers to justice in rural Alaska, right? Similar to barriers to healthcare. Research over the last several years has looked at, okay, how can we innovate to improve access to justice across Alaska? Legal providers, as you can see on that left side, they are very few and far between, but healthcare providers are not. So if you overlay those, really the answer is partnering with our healthcare providers to help deliver legal services. And that is exactly what we are doing at Alaska Legal Services. In 2019, we launched our Community Justice Worker Project, which was inspired by the tribal community health aid model. We train local community members to provide legal assistance where it's most needed, ensuring cultural understanding and accessibility. These are community embedded advocates that are trained by ALSC to assist Alaskans who would otherwise lack legal help. And in 2023, we stood up our Community Justice Worker Resource Center to support the growing CJW network in Alaska and to collaborate with our tribal partners in the lower 48 to grow a nationwide community justice worker network. So that included adding about 12 people to our staff in the last year, and that includes 5 community justice workers. And I'm very happy to say that in December, we will have a community justice worker joining our Kodiak office. Our tribal affiliations of our community justice workers, we have trained several hundred community justice workers, and as you can see, they are largely affiliated with our tribal partners. And this is an incredibly important piece of success for the Community Justice Worker Initiative. And KANA has been a huge supporter of this work. And KANA has also provided financial support to help us launch our medical legal partnership networks. And they've continued to partner with us, including meeting with researchers last year who are researching the community justice worker work. KANA has been supportive for that process and helped us to show folks around down here in Kodiak last year. So as you can see, with the community justice worker movement, we are starting to show up in more places. We have advocates now in 41 communities instead of our 15 locations. We are able to impact and reach more Alaskans. Okay, and then I'm going to end on this. So our community justice workers, and again, community justice workers are folks that are not lawyers. We are training folks who are already in the community, and we're working on a credentialing program, much like the community health aid program. We are training folks to help their fellow community members to do legal work. And we will soon be training them and credentialing them to the point where they can go to court and do other types of cases. It is one of the first of its projects in the nation. There are a lot of people around the country watching it, so it's a very exciting time. And the work they are doing is incredible. So the community justice workers helped us to address the SNAP crisis. We could not have done it without them. I don't know if you guys know anyone who was suffering during the SNAP crisis, but we literally received thousands of calls from Alaskans around the state telling us they were hungry. They were taking turns eating meals. Elders were letting the children eat. Grandmothers and children were eating mush. People did not have food. And so, like I said, we did not want to turn anybody away. And so our community justice workers and our volunteer lawyers were a huge piece of allowing us to help every single person that came to us. They closed over 500 SNAP cases for clients in 90 Alaskan communities, and they got almost $1.6 million for Alaskans in SNAP benefits. It's truly incredible work by your community members who are embedded in your communities, who know their family and friends and are able to help them. Okay, did I do it in 10? Okay. All right. There's our Kodiak office information, and Tika Lombardi, we're back here if you need to come see us. We have all sorts of information for you. So, am I good? Okay. Thank you everyone so much.
Are there any questions for Maggie? Just want to make sure. There's a question. Yes. That's your.
Hi, Joseph Delgado. I'm wondering, I don't know how to put this, but is there any way that you can help if, let's say, somebody was killed, and law enforcement and the courts don't want to do anything about it, or they can't, or for whatever reason? Is there any way that the family involved can file a wrongful death lawsuit with your help? I don't know if
Yeah, so that might be something we can talk about on a break. I have some ideas. We don't do a lot of wrongful death or tort law because there are attorneys that can get paid to do that. But it's definitely something that there are other services though that I think we could provide to the family that I think would be helpful. And then I have ideas of where they could be referred as well. So, because I think that's important work that the family should get some direction for. So
yes, and the reason I ask that is that probably in most cases, something like this, the people that have been harmed in this situation aren't very wealthy, and they may not know where they can go or what their rights are. And so I think that if somebody can give them advice, because right now they're hurting and there is no resolution to this and it's wrong.
Yeah, yeah, we have a crime victim rights attorney in Anchorage that I think could be helpful in pointing families in the right direction in those situations. So, yep.
Thanks. Are there any other questions?
Sorry.
Right. Well, thanks again, Maggie. And if you do have any questions that occur to you that you didn't get the chance to ask, Maggie and Tika are at the back of the room, and they'll be happy to share their information with you. We are at the point on our agenda for prize drawings, election results, and questions and comments. I'm going to first announce the election results. For Kodiak Village, Phyllis Emoto. Alutiiq Tribe of Old Harbor, Stella Crummery. Native Village of Port Lions, Nancy Nelson. And Shunak Tribe of Kodiak, Janine Marsh. The agenda in front of you has questions and comments after prize drawings, but I think I'll open for any questions or comments before we do the prize drawings. Are there any questions or comments from the audience? I see one, yes. We'll bring a microphone over. Oh. Ledzel's bringing a microphone right over there.
My name is Shara Peterson. I'm a KANA beneficiary. I was just curious. I just feel like KANA and ANMC are like divorcing. I feel like they're not communicating between the two, the scheduling, the calling. And I was just curious, what is going on? Is it staffing? Is it something that is not partnering between the two of you guys anymore? I'm just curious what has happened, because used to be amazing. Used to be traveling and scheduling and calling, no problem. So easy, so direct. Now you can't even get a person's voicemail. So I'm just curious, is there a problem going on between the two?
Yeah, thank you for the question. And I'm glad that we had the opportunity for Natasha and Alan to be here. As far as the two agencies, I think that we work very closely together. The problem, there are lots of problems with care coordination and travel, and you're right, staffing is one of those problems. Another challenge, and I'm not sure if Alan or Natasha would want to address that also. Lodging in Anchorage is at a deficit. As they mentioned earlier, there's a lack of available space for both lodging and healthcare. But as far as the relationship between KANA and ANMC, I think that the relationship is strong. I think that Natasha is doing a great job. Alan's doing a great job to try to do better, and we're trying to do better at KANA also, because I hear your pain, and I've heard it from others, and the work that Alan described with access is significant. But as they also acknowledged, there's more work to happen. Natasha is going to add a few comments, but thank you for asking the question. And at the root, I think that the relationship between the two organizations, that part of the question, I think we have a good relationship.
Thank you. We have heard the same concern across the state. We are getting to the root cause. Right now, ANTHC is in a time of transition. We're looking at internal processes that we really haven't examined in a while. We haven't invested in the technology that will assist in better care coordination, and the board has approved in investing in those processes. Right now, we're not where we want to be in care coordination for our patients. We understand there needs to be more fluid care and better communication. One thing I can say is we're investing $5 million in what we call our ERP. It's the technology that occurs internally at ANTHC. And we believe with that investment, we're going to have a lot more better processes within. That goes live in the summer of 2025. So in about a year, we'll see those improvements. In addition, we've placed a VP of patient travel and housing, Liz Artiega. She is a native trained nurse, and she's focusing directly on the issues that you bring up today. She's been in her position about 1 year, and so I think now that she has that orientation of figuring out where she needs to focus, I think we'll start to see the fruits of her initiative soon. So thank you for bringing that concern. We don't want it to feel like we're divorcing from KANA or this region. We're not. I think the engagement brought by the leadership of KANA at our forum this week brought the issues that your villages in Kodiak face and asked us directly to start improving in those areas. So thank you.
Thanks, Natasha. And the willingness of Natasha and Ellen to come down and join us today, I think speaks to their level of commitment to try to work together to do better. Are there any other questions or comments from the floor?
Is it working? Okay. First of all, thank you to Rebecca Dawn for all the hard work that she's done over the years. It's really nice to hear the elders talk about what it was like before. I miss a lot of the same things that you do as well. So thank you for that. I'm encouraged to see that you guys are already beginning to talks about finding places for elders to stay when they come to the village, from the villages. It can be hard sometimes for them to come, especially during the winter time. I've found this in the last few years with my family members that needed to come into Kodiak. The encouraging thing about that is we have a lot of partners. We have tribes, we have corporations, medical organizations, the borough and the city, and the nonprofits here in Kodiak. One idea that came up was that we could use the dorms for a place that could be, you know, when I was on the borough assembly, we tried to rent it to a cannery, but that would violate some of the conditions of their leases that they have now. But if we used it as a temporary housing for villagers, then that would work. I was talking with one of the peoples in the nonprofit organizations where they talked about possibly using part of it as a training place. We could go out and recruit people to come to do medical, physical therapy and that type of thing, and also house them in half of the dorm area. It's a good idea. It's worth looking into. I hope that we get all of these different partners to talk together, because this is something that's getting worse and worse. More and more elders are going to be looking for treatment and that. And so it is going to become more and more important. And knowing the availability of apartments and land here in Kodiak, we have to find some kind of unique solutions. And that's the one thing that we always have to remember about our people. We've been here for 7,000 years. The European immigrants can learn something from us. So listen to our people and listen to our thoughts and ideas, and we can get through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for bringing that up. And I did hear or read that the Borough Assembly is considering remodeling those apartments and leasing them out or making them available for public benefit for teachers and healthcare workers. And I had the chance to meet with the borough manager earlier this week and said, if that's the direction you're headed, please let me know and keep us in mind, because we need more housing and apartments for our village travelers and for our staff. So thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? I think I heard a no. If there are no comments or questions, I'd like to go ahead and we'll go ahead and close the meeting with prize drawings, and we have food outside. I'd like you all to let our elders go first. And I think we have a couple of elder designated tables, but elders first. I want to thank all of you for showing up today, for taking time out to hear about what we're doing. I want to thank all of our partners. As Joe mentioned, there's a lot of partners that need to be working together. We have our friends from ANTHC here today, ANMC, the Alaska Legal Services Corporation, and many others. We've had a lot of opportunity over the last year to develop new relationships and strengthen existing relationships, like with the Housing Authority, for example, with the apartments that we've rented and the further work that we intend to do with the Housing Authority. So thanks to all of you KANA members who showed up today for this annual membership meeting. It's a lot of work that goes into putting this together. It might not look like it, but our staff put a lot of time and effort into making sure that this meeting could support you and would go as easily as possible. I think it did. I want to thank our technology folks for ensuring that everything works, and our communications folks for putting together a lot of really beautiful materials and informational materials to share with you what it is that we're doing as an organization to support you. I want to invite you to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments or issues or concerns. Many of you have my phone number. If you don't, let me know, and I'd be happy to give it to you. I can't be part of a solution if I'm not aware of the problem. And so please let me know. Feel free to reach out. That's my job, is to try to do what I can to make KANA better tomorrow than it is today. So thank all of you. Have a great lunch. And let's do some prize drawings really quick, and then we'll let you carry on with the rest of your day. And before I conclude, I should mention that when I got into my truck this morning, I had ice on the windshield. I don't know if the rest of you did, but I'm going to go home and dig my carrots and potatoes. So make sure you don't leave anything in the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I am Arwen Boats, and I love the job of giving people prizes. So my lovely assistant today, Carissa Stoker, will be pulling our tickets, and we have 16 lovely prizes. Our first prize is an ivory bear made by EJ, who is from Anchorage. And that first prize is going to go to Sonia Delgado. Where are you, Sonia? Okay, we'll give it to you later. Okay, Sonia? Sounds good. Our second prize here, these beautiful fur earmuffs from Miss Susie Balutin. Dun, 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 dun. They get to go to Nancy Nelson. That's good. It'll keep your ears warm in Port Lions. Anyone who wants to come up and grab them now, they can. Otherwise, we'll make sure everyone gets what they need. Our third prize, these beautiful cutesy kid slippers, are going to go to, also made by Susie Malutin, of course, Eric Lariana. I don't know where Eric is. Hi, Eric. You're perfect for you, right? Yeah. That's funny. Okay, so we also have a loon here. Beautiful wood artwork with some ivory, I believe, on it as well by Glenn, and I'm gonna butcher this, I'm sorry, Kodiak. If anyone knows how to fix that, I would appreciate it. And this is gonna go to Chet Delgado. The Delgados are doing well. Is Chet still here? No, we're still gonna let him win. Oh, okay, sorry. People said you'd already left. Sorry about that. Our next one, number 5, grass weaved basket from Luis Leonard, which these are a huge amount of work. Roland, where are you? You're over there. You win. Our next prize is a salmon skin wallet, which has both black and red on it. Oh, Karen won. Where are you, girl? Karen, sorry, I butchered that. Where'd she go? She's been walking around everywhere. She'll be super excited. Okay. Now we have a bison basket. Chantel Bartleson. Chantel here? Okay. This beautiful, beautiful big bear picture from Alvin Arneson is our next prize, number 8. Da, 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 da. Really nice handwriting. Amanda Phillips, of course. Beautiful handwriting. I think she was trying to leave to go get on the ferry, so we'll make sure she gets it. Now we're moving into our gift cards. I have 2 $200 gift cards. Number 1, Dana Dench. Number 2, Stacy Simmons. I haven't seen you, Stacy, but I know you're here. Yeah. Now we're moving on to a $500 KEA gift card. Sorry. Coral Chernoff. I just saw you walk in, Coral. Hi. And now we have 2 $500 regular, one $500 Visa gift card. Charisse Olson Floyd. Nice job, Charisse. And then everyone who voted for the tribal council members is also was put in. And for the Alutiiq tribe of Old Harbor, Phyllis Clough, you are the winner of a $100 gift card. For Kodiak Village, we have Sherry Aluska. Native Village of Port Lions, Marilyn Nelson. And our last prize of the afternoon, Sharon Major for Shunak Tribe of Old Harbor. That doesn't make sense. Shunak Tribe of Kodiak. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Congratulations to everybody who won. And for those of you who didn't have your name called, you are still invited for lunch. So thanks, everybody. Spend as much time as you'd like to here today. Thank you for your support. And we look forward to continuing to serve you. And again, if you need anything, please let me know. That's what I'm here for. Thank you. Elders first.